What's going on, everybody? Just wanted to thank all the all the new followers: Barry Patel, Luis Neto, Mr. L, and Mav 3D. Thank you very much for joining. Today we are going to go over array mesh and NanoMesh, just some basic stuff. And we're going to be creating this this flower and petals and pedestals and thingamabobbers and stuff. So yeah, we're going to be working on this today, and hopefully we can kind of finish it. Hold on one second. Hopefully we can finish it for the stream. And let me see. New scene, rebirth. All right, so let me show you what this is. This is Rebirth by Iman. It's a pretty dope image. I've always wanted to work on this. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready for like 3D printing because I just bought a 3D printer, a little Photon S action. So super happy about that. And yeah, so we're going to be making this entire thing and kind of making it 3D printable. And yeah, so hopefully it'll look good in the end. But just for right now, I am teaching a course live here locally at the university. And the homework that they have due for Monday, which is probably a little bit more complicated than usual, is the array mesh and NanoMesh. So I figured I'd show all you jabronis what this is all about, and hopefully you dig it. And of course, as soon as I start streaming, I am getting just so many messages that would never get normally had I not pressed streaming. Anyway, so here we go. We are going to start off with anything. We're going to drag it onto the canvas because we just got to make it a polymesh 3D and initialize it into a Q cube. Let me see, make sure. Where is this? What is this? I gotta get this all situated and a little way weighted, but yeah. All right, so here we go. So we're pretty much just gonna create like one of these petals individually, and so they're kind of like squarish with a little bow, usually around the middle. So we're just going to get a basic one, and then we can go in there and individually change these if we want to. So I'm going to press W on my keyboard, going to lengthen it, going to shrink it down, and then we are going to press Shift F. We're going to unmask that area, and we're going to put this probably right around here. Kind of looks like a coffin, know what I'm saying? It looks like a coffin. You got a little skull right here. You see what the artist did? All right. So let's see what this looks like. If it was subdivided, maybe a little bit more. Something like that. Let's see what crease PG looks like. And let's get this crease level down somewhere around there. Let's see what this looks like. Go down to 1. I think that would be a little bit better. Okay, so we're at a smooth subdiv of 3, crease level of 1, and I'm gonna pull this out just a little bit more because it seems like it's a little bit longer than usual. Okay, so now what we're going to do, instead of going here and duplicating it and rotating it and duplicating it and rotating it, I put petal instead of petal. Instead of that, what we're going to do is we're going to use ZBrush to kind of do that for us. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We'll call it 15. So we're going to use ZBrush to kind of arrange or array these for us so we don't have to do it by hand, and then we can artify it up after that. So I'm going to turn on Array Mesh, and I'm going to use transpose and lock position. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat this 15 times. Boop, boop, douche. I'm going to turn off extrude, and I'm going to go to rotate. I'm going to go Y amount 360. So we should get something that looks like I don't know, like a weird cork. And we're just going to bring that out, and we're going to rotate this around so we kind of get like this little flower shape. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is let's see what else do we need to do here. I think that's about it for the petals. I mean, you can see how quick that was. Just make sure extrude is off, and you can just press make mesh, and now you've got this thing. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're pretty much just going to start matching it up to what we have here. So what I like to do is get this pretty big on here, match the bottom right there, match the top right here, put it right there, get it nice and close. We can imagine the edges there. And then right click. This is pure ref. It's totally free. You can get it anywhere. And then I can do always on bottom. And then I can do kind of like something like that. Get this somewhat in the center of this flower. Press front. So now I can move this anywhere I want. And then I can press front and always go back to this. So if you want to know where that is, that's under Document, Z-App-Link Properties Front, and you can click it there. If you need to redo it, say you don't like this one, you can go Document, you can go Clear To, and any of these buttons that are actually highlighted are the ones that have been saved. So I'm going to turn this Clear To off and show you. So if I press back, it automatically has a back because I pressed front, right? But you can go Document, Clear To, back. And you can say, well, I liked the back there, but I kind of want it zoomed up. Then you go back to Document, Z-App-Link Properties back, and then the front and the back will be set. So it's up to you how you want to use it. Use it all the time because I don't like readjusting these things over and over and over again. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to auto group these. You can pretty much find this under polygroups, auto groups. And now each one of these are going to be their own individual polygroup. So now we can use these new, we can use some new features like, or other brushes like the Move Topological that will just take into account each individual shape. But if we're getting some type of like, for whatever reason that's not working, we can also use Mask by Polygroups. So if we, I'm going to get my standard move brush off. I'm going to turn this down. So this is our standard move brush, but if we turn up Mask by Polygroups, it'll just worry about the polygroup and not the mesh. So it's up to you what you want to use, but this feature is for every single brush that's out there. So smooth, any of that stuff is going to be affected by the slider, and you can find it under brush, auto masking right here, and it's the first slider, right? So, so it's up to you what you want to use. Okay, so I'm going to press front. We're going to go here, and we're just going to start. We're going to turn Mask Polygroups on, and we're just going to start moving these into place. Not really super worried about getting it absolutely perfect at this point. I'm just roughing in these shapes. Alrighty, let's see. Okay, there we go. All right, move that, get our move brush, kind of shape it a little bit, move it around. And whenever I use the term artify, this is kind of like what I mean. Just, like we made the flower, but now we got to artify it, right? So now I'm going to press W, hold control, and I'm just going to click on this one petal. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of arrange it down the middle line, put it right here, and kind of just shrink this by hand. I mean, shrink this with a widget as opposed to doing it by hand. I think it would be it would end up looking sloppy, I believe, if we did it like that. So just going to move these around. And there we go. Let's see. And all right, let's clear that. And again, just using our move brush, getting that all around. And I think I'm going to put this one behind the purple one, and I think it's going to be good for adding some layers, and this not looking like looking so flat and digital. Add a little bit of that in there, and if we need to, we can go here, go there. Press Control Shift, hold Control Shift, sorry. And we can, again, line this down the middle line, kind of stretch it. Oh, let's get it over here as well. Stretch it out, skinny it up, rotate it around, lengthen it out, and we can kind of shape it up. Alrighty, so this one, I think we're going to go over here. You can see how easy this method can be in terms of matching concept art. I use this a lot just to make sure that the main forms or the main ideas of the concept art are still being carried over. Still have a lot to learn about it, but getting better, getting better. Holding Control and Shift, and kind of putting this into place and extending it out. Okay, boom, boom, boom. But yeah, if you're watching out there, in CG land, definitely, I'm watching the chat on hopefully all channels, so if you have any questions, just let a brother know. Alrighty, I'm gonna move this over there. Again, always trying to find a way to create layers of these petals. Just, it's gonna be a little bit more visually interesting than just them all kind of coming from the same depth. Bring that out, bring this out. Okay, there we go. That's a long one. This one's definitely going to go behind. There we go. There we go. And then you can see how useful that front is, instead of trying to orient it again and all that, you can kind of just click that button. Makes it super, super easy for you. And boom, get that. And let's move this right here. And let's grab this one. Fix a rotation, bring it over, bring it there. Again, align it with the middle line, shrink it up. We're going to auto group it again just to make sure. And now that we've got it kind of set up, we can kind of go by eye and see if we can make this look any better, which we can, especially in these transition areas. We can kind of make sure that they're not interpenetrating. As much as I do love penetration, sometimes it's just too much. Alrighty, let's see. Get this, kind of get it up there. Just make sure, because whenever we're 3D printing this, we definitely want to not lose any of this depth. This is my first 3D printer, and I do make collectibles and stuff like that for other companies, but never actually made one for myself. So there's going to be a huge learning curve, and I'm pretty sure this flower is going to give me all types of hell. But we will persevere, and we shall win. Let's see. Going something like that. Pretty interesting. Okay. Alrighty, and let's kick front again. Let's take a look, and let's refine this just a little bit more so they're not all flat across the top. This one, I think that one's an extra one. Yeah, that one's an extra one. All right, delete hidden. Let's move that over there. Delete hidden is under geometry, modified topology, delete hidden. So if you ever need that, that's where that is. All right, and just adjusting, making sure everything looks good, making sure everything looks sexy. Alrighty. Just bending things in, bending things in. Dun, dun, dun. Alrighty. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. Let's go to 2. Let's apply that. And let's see if we can kind of refine this just a bit more. And again, we still do have masked polygroups on, so it should be quite easy to make these adjustments. Okay. And just making sure that they are all touching in some way. Not intersecting, but definitely touching. And now just going to kind of get these curves of the petal a little bit less static, a little more curvy, focusing on the first third to make sure the curves look sexy. And thank you, everybody, for watching. If you do have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm following the Facebook, or I'm sorry, the Twitch a little bit more than everything else. So feel free. One second. Just trying to make sure it's all going to the right spot. Seems my stuff is not streaming to Facebook for some reason. Oh well, doesn't matter. Does not matter. Is at least streaming to Twitch? Oh well, it's all being recorded, so I'll post it later if it's not streaming correctly. Alrighty, so let's this. And again, focusing on the 1/3, top 1/3 for these curves. It doesn't have to always be, super consistent, but it's good rule of thumb. Instead of all of them going forward, sending some back. And just making sure you got a good amount of variance in here. And again, making sure these aren't penetrating each other too much. Here we go. All right, it is at least streaming to YouTube, so we're good. We're good. All right, let's go back to front. Alrighty. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to create that this little bit. So let me get here. Let me go always on top now. Going to mode, always on top, and now we can move this over to the side and kind of guesstimate what this is. I mean, it's it's pretty easy to get. I mean, we can probably get it with a cylinder, make polymesh 3D, Q cylinder Z. Let's go Z, I think. Yeah, definitely Z. Okay, so you can pretty much make the shape with just the cylinder. So here, BZM, making sure symmetry is activated. And instead of Q meshing this down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transpose it down. And going to set this down that way. And just going to turn off symmetry, going to get it in the center and have it taper off a little bit. And we're going to widen this a bit more. Get in the center, widen it out. We're going to level off the top. Get this in center, kind of get something like that going. And yeah, I think it's a good start. Let's see if we can get these eyes in here. So I'm going to insert an edge. I'm going to go here to split. I'm going to get that going. I'm going to do the same on the back. I'm just going to click and then do something like that. Do the same over here. Then I'm going to unmask that area, put it to home, kind of bring it down a little bit, and then going to Q mesh polygroup all and just send all these back. And see. Oh, that's why. Okay, so I'm going to get that. I'm going to say Control W. And actually, instead of doing something like that, I'm just going to hold Alt and temporarily polygroup these. Boop, 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 and just send it back. Press D. Now we got something like that. I'm going to uncrease all. That's the reason this is sharp here and kind of soft everywhere else. So uncrease all. And then we've got something symbolizing that. I'm going to use my move brush. I'm going to use backface masking. I'm going to make sure mask polygroups is off. And I'm going to pull out the sides here. And the edges. Try to get this looking sexy. Let's go a little bit higher on the subdiv. I think that'll work. What I'm going to do is just apply it. And then go to my NanoMesh. Don't want to keep that. We can go up to about 256. And and Dynamesh it again. We don't want to keep our subdivision level, but I think that will be good enough for us to get started on our overall shape. So pretty much for me, it looks like a skull on this part. So I'm gonna try to give it kind of like an orbit feel, and then a little bit more triangular here. And you can see how close these are together. So we need to kind of oblige that idea. Redynamesh. And then it's just too flat. So I'm going to get my move brush and we're going to give it a little bit more of a curve and a little bit more depth. I'm going to use clay buildup, BCB, and I'm just going to, oh, and I also want to turn on back face masking. So that's under brush, move this over, again, masking, back face masking. I just have a little hotkey right here. And that way, whenever you're sculpting on this side, it won't pull from the back as well. In some ways, I wish they would just automatically have back face masking on most of these like sculptural brushes instead of, like move brush. You probably don't want it all the time. But usually on these, like your standard brush and all that good stuff, wouldn't mind an auto back face masking. Right? Alrighty. And instead of it coming to something kind of soft here, I'm going to get it a little bit more like the mental eminence or the chin, just so we can kind of complete this skull-like feeling. And we're going to make this a little bit more angular. And we're going to let this slowly kind of meld into the main mesh of this. Alrighty. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And again, right there. Kind of give it a little bit more. Okay, Redynamesh. We're going to clay polish. Redynamesh, clay polish. And we're going to go up to like 512. Clay polish one more time. And get something a little bit smoother. And we can kind of emphasize, because for me, this is kind of like an emphasized edge right here. You can kind of see this line right there, this little mid-tone. And it's on both sides, so it's not like a mistake. So going to try to get a little bit more of a skull feeling. You can see how much more space I need on each side. So I'm going to get my move brush, back face masking, and then I can do this. Bajibo, thanks for watching, brother. Appreciate ya. If y'all aren't subscribed to Bajibo, make sure you do. He's on Twitch. He's a really good sculptor, really good game artist, and really good modeler too. So if you can get him talking, just watch out. Oh yeah. That too, Lance. Very much so. Alrighty, and just yeah, I think I'm gonna go with a little bit more skull feeling with all of this, which is just right at home for me. Yeah, you should definitely stream, dude. Should definitely stream. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Alrighty. So we got pretty good. This is a little bit too circular. I'm going to turn off back face masking for move. And gonna kind of reset this orbit feel that I'm going for in this particular area. Alrighty. So what we're gonna do now, let's see if we can do group loops. Geometry, edge loop, group loops. Let's see if we can get some. We're going to turn on mask by polygroups. We're going to kind of see what we can do. Try to get some cool edge work in here. Although I don't know if it's going to show up. I'm pretty sure it won't, but it's fun nonetheless. Alrighty, NanoMesh. Hey, it is worth it. This is worth it. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and zero mesh this. We're gonna. We definitely don't want 5,000. Let's go 1,000. And then let's start cutting it down from there, just so it's a little bit easier for ZBrush to kind of calculate these things. And 0.25. And let's see if we can help this along. Let's start using polygroups. So I'm going to polygroup. Hopefully we don't have spinning in here. Hey, cool. Kind of worked out, sort of. All right, we're going to go here. We're going to polygroup. We're going to go single poly. Go there. And we're going to click these two, Control W. And we're good. Hopefully we can get the same result or a similar one. So far, so good. So far, so good. So far, so good. So now what we're going to do, we're going to say keep groups on this, and we're going to, let's see if we can get an edge over here. Let's see if we can get this. Can we get it? How many can we get? Getting a good amount. Getting a good amount. All right. So this should help it out a little bit more. Yeah. Whole lot easier. See? Topologies. Much cleaner. And let's see. What are we at? 0.25. Let's go 0.1. Because I want it even lower. Even lower. All right. So we lost a lot of the shape. That's fine. Gonna turn back face masking on again and get this shape going once more. But now we've definitely got, I'm gonna turn back face masking off, but now we've definitely got something that we're looking for. We can still reinforce all this skeletal-like shape. I'm going to turn off mask by polygroups. A True Fury, what's up, Spicer? Dig the stash. Thank you very much, really. Thank you very much. Been working on it. Been taking it to the gym. It's been lifting some heavy weights, clanging and banging. How you been doing, brother? And let's see, kind of stretch this out a bit more. And I think that will be serviceable enough. Let's see what happens when we do increase polygroups. Turn it down to 1. I think we're going to get a little bit something more that we're going for. So we will keep that. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my petal. I'm going to go to append, and we're going to append our skull petal. I don't know, what is this called? Does anybody know the anatomy of a flower? We'll go with pistons or whatever they're called. I don't know what's called. All right. So we're going to rotate this. Let's go back to front. And let's turn off symmetry so we're not messing with stuff too much. It's obviously going to be off of there a little bit. Let's center this. So I'm going to use this cogwheel, and I'm going to use bend arc, and I'm going to use green. We're going to get a little bit more. Press W twice, go back to the cogwheel and accept it. And now what we need to do is kind of make these little, I don't know what these things are called. True Fury, doing good, dude. Good to catch a stream again. Hell yeah, feels good to stream again. I think I'm going to start streaming like twice a week. Gonna get some things situated. Get it looking sexy for everybody. Excuse the mic adjustment. Let's go anatomy of a flower. Let's see what these are. What are these called? The petal, the stigma. Yes, the stigma and the pollen tube. And what are these called? The anthers? Let's see, what was another thing? Yeah, anthers, like antlers. Stigma. And the pistil. Oh, the pistil. Yeah, I was right. My school did not fail me. All right, so we are going to be creating the anthers or the stamen. That's what we're going to be making, the stamen. So let's make those. So first, let's insert anything, and let's key-sphere it. Let's lengthen it. Right there. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to bevel it. I'm going to Q mesh this in. I'm going to go poly loop. Oops. Let's extrude it in. I think that'll get us a better result. Poly loop. Oops, wrong way. Oops, wrong way. There we go. Let's grab this. Let's make sure everything is uncreased. And I'm going to skinny this together. Press D. And let's shape this up a bit. Getting my move brush. I'm going to turn off poly groups because I want to affect everything. And actually what I'm going to do instead of this is I'm going to taper. So I'm going to press W. I'm going to go here. I'm going to use taper. And we're going to taper this in that way. And we'll go here. Oops. Let's see if we can, there we go. We can do something like that. Alrighty. There we go. And pressing W twice. We're going to accept. Cogwheel again. I think what I'm going to do is, that should be enough geometry. We're going to do a bend arc again, and we're going to go that way. D, and there's your anther for your stamen. And now we got to get the filament. Let's see. Let's go a little bit higher. Yeah, that'll work. That'll get your Dean right there. Yeah. And now we're going to get a cylinder. So what I'm going to do is, where's it going to be coming from? From there, down here. All right, so let's get a tube. I'm going to mass this. I'm going to press W. Going to accept this. Going to go back here. And I'm going to choose cylinder 3D. And going to go down. And now you can adjust, how many of these you want. So I just want 8. I'm going to go here. Vertical divide, we'll go with 8 right there. W, accept. Oh, well, I guess it's already working. So now we just need to get it, lengthen it, put it where it needs to be. Right around, yeah. All right, we're gonna mask that top, bring this up here, rotate it around, and I think we're gonna finish it off with a little bend arc. I am a slut for the bend arc. I love this thing. Is that the way I want it to go? I want it to go out. Let's go this way. No, this way. Yes, that way. Boom, boom, boom. And then just extend it out. Bring it down. Extend it out. Bring it down. Get that. We can polish by features. Control Shift A, mask. See if masking will get this. Yep, there we go. And then we'll just smooth it out a little bit. Let's mask this bottom part so it doesn't change too much, but we can get something like that. Polish by features is under deformation, polish by features right there. Okay. Oh, yeah. So we've got that. Let's grab this, Control Shift A, mask it, invert it, send this to home, and rotate that a bit. Make it look a little bit sexier, you know what I'm saying? I think you do. I think you do. Something like that. And that'll get her done right there, brother. That'll get her done. I think I'm going to make it look a little bit more aggressive. Something, give it a little bit more of a V. And a little, yeah, just a little hint, a little something. Right, and now I'm going to use the the Move Topological BMT, bacon, mushroom, tomato, and we're going to get it, make sure it looks nice and sexy. Again, top third is where we're going to be focusing on that curve up here, and then have it nice and sexy. Slow it down. Keep it low. I keep it low. All right. All right, so we have our stamen now. So there we go. And we can shrink this up a bit. Let's reset our gizmo. And let's turn off symmetry. Let's see if it's going to work. Just rotating it into place, kind of like where it be. Let's say right around there. Bring it up, around. We can probably make it a little bit smaller. Somewhere right there. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay. So J, mirror, mirror, and weld. We're just going to, let me see, why is, oh, that's fine. Okay. So now I'm going to reset my gizmo. Control Shift, going to duplicate it, going to move it into place a little bit more. And we're just going to be doing this for a little bit. All right, so if you got any questions, put me up in the chat, and hopefully I will get to them. That's the hottest stamen you've ever seen. Hey, chill out there, you know, it's a little PG over here, you know. PG-13. Be PG-13. Okay, and just making sure that these are always somewhat different, you know. You want to avoid the look of it being digital. And we're just going to smooth that so they're separated, because I don't want the geometry to be stretching, and then we've got a freaking problem with printing or whatever. So just making it easy on myself, doing a little maintenance in the beginning. Okay, and we're just going to rotate it a little bit more, something like that. And it is very symmetrical right now, but obviously in the very end, we're going to change that up. And it's always good to, again, not do anything too permanently, because we still have lots of, let me put that. And we're going to Smart Sim. We're going to move that up a little bit right there. It seemed like it was off symmetry for some reason. I think I moved it and didn't move it back. Okay. So that's good. Let's square this off a little bit more. And again, turn on back face masking with move, so we can just affect the edges. Give it a little bit more width and a little bit more length. And I think that'll work for now, for the first step. We can go back here. Alrighty. I think this might be a little bit too big. Something like that. And let's raise this bottom part. I'm going to mask here and raise it up. I'm going to try to go along with the geometry. It doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. It just needs to not look uncared for. All right, something a little bit more. And we can always zero mesh it again. Woo! Let's keep groups, keep creases. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. Let's go to our zero mesher panel and let's freeze border. Zero mesh it again. Oh, it went to an error. I am not going to try that again. In fact, I'm going to save this right now, as it's worrying me. Projects. Boom, 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 boom. Hero flower. Flower 01. Okay. Yeah, I don't like it when it does that. Yeah, for some reason, it does not like that freeze border. Freeze groups? No. No, we're not going to try it again. Okay, we'll fix it some other way. Alrighty, so let's go back to our stamens. And let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, around there. So let's reset our gizmo. Let's bring these in a little bit. Shrink them up. Make sure they don't cross the stream. Go back here. And if they do need to kind of get a little closer, I'm just going to smooth them out a bit more. And all right, we froze up there. Hopefully we're still here. Alrighty. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Let's get these right there. Bring it up. All right, you are still there. That's good. That's good. All right, so 3, 5. 6. Bring it a little bit closer. Somewhere around there. Okay. So I'm going to get my move brush. Start moving these around. I'm going to turn symmetry off. I'm going to use move topological. Bring this in. Kind of move these around so they're not so identical. it off there too much. Ready. Let's see. BMT. So BMV. Let's go auto group. And I think it's going to be a whole lot easier if we just take our time and kind of polygroup these up a bit. So then we can use our mask by, whatchamacallit, mask by polygroups. And we only need to do one side, and then we can just mirror and weld it. Ready, almost done. And you know, polygroups are extremely important in ZBrush. If you take the time to set up your polygroups, you're going to have a whole lot more efficient session by doing so. And it's going to be a whole lot easier, a whole lot more fun. So I'm going to mirror and weld it. I'm going to actually smooth these off of the middle line. So just don't want weird geometry in here causing us problems later. A little bit smaller. Make sure these are away from the center line. Okay. So now we can mirror and weld them. There we go. So now they're not going to have any weirdness. Okay, so now we can use our move brush, we can use our mask by polygroups, and now we can really just go here and we can affect everything at the same time. I'm going to turn dynamic off, and we're going to get up in here, make sure this stuff reads well and doesn't look the same on both sides. And so generally you don't really have to worry about the specific placement right away because you can always just adjust it later. If you just get in the general direction or general area, general shape, you know, you have to go through the steps of making it look good, which is iterative. It's usually not, you know, immediately you start making it look good. You know, you block it out. I mean, there's plenty of sculpts that look great in the block out stage, which I'm still aiming for, which I think anybody should aim for before they start adding a lot of detail or any surface noise. So yeah, it's super important to be patient. Still learning that on my own. But I think I've gotten better since, well, at least I would hope so, since before I started. Alrighty, and just making sure they're not overlapping too much. And again, like the petals, we want some depth, right? We want contrast of depth. We don't want them all on the same plateau, right? Some are in the back, some are up front, some are to the side. And if we're having an issue with how thick these are, we can just go in here with our inflate brush. And I'm going to turn mask polygroups off so it kind of disaffects everything. And we can go in here and add that back in. Okay. So we're going to grab one of these. We're going to auto group these and bring everything back. Click that one, mask it, invert the mask, go to the center, reset our gizmo, and get one of these. Alrighty. What's up, Leo? What's up? Bajibo, you don't know what to do, man? I thought you were going to do that crazy face guy with a big open mouth and stuff. Right, and just holding control and shift and dragging it into an area. And this one, just making sure that they're not all the same size. They don't all look the same. Again, we want to avoid it looking digital as much as possible. Oh, okay. I see what I did. So I took the, what is it called? I took the anthers, but I didn't get the filament. The filament. All right, so to counteract that, I'm going to press Control W on that side. Again, okay, so boom, boom, boom. Control Shift A, Control W. Okay, so now it should work. Alrighty, so I'm going to hold Control. It'll automatically unmask that and mask everything else. And then you can use your duplication methods to pretty good effect. I'm going to rotate this around and make sure it's going through. Something like that. I'm going to reset my gizmo. Oop. Reset it and make sure it's going through here. Boom. And we're going to do one more just because I see another yellow dot here. And let me put that up there. I'm going to try to stay as faithful to this thing as possible. We'll see how it goes, especially if we're going to be 3D printing something. I don't know how the hell we're going to get these stamens in there, but we'll figure it out. I think what I'm going to do so we can anchor these things is I'm going to get a ball and go subtool. I'm going to insert it doesn't matter what it is, because we're just going to Q-sphere it. We're going to flatten it out. We're going to make it a little bit bigger, and we're going to kind of fill in this area artistically. That way everything can kind of connect, and we can start pulling these stamens down, or what is it called? The filaments. B-I-N. And I think what I'm going to do is go back to mask by polygroups, so I can kind of start there. And then get my move brush, kind of bring all these down. Inflate brush, because this is definitely going to break in the printer, depending on how large we print it. Bring that in there, bring that over, something like that. Right, and just making sure these are all going through this little base that we have. And this one definitely needs to be inflated. It's way too thin. So just going to use the inflate brush. Go back to my move topological, and I also have mask by polygroups on, just because I'm OCD like that. Alrighty. So I think we solved the biggest issue that we had, which was floating stamens. Oops. Let me see if I can. Woo! And the computer's sticky again. Hopefully y'all are still here. And we're going to get this stamen, bring it down. Alrighty. So I think we pretty much got this. We can start asymmetrically getting these. I'm going to use AccuCurve, so it kind of gives me a little sharper edge here. And again, just reinforcing the overall skull-like idea, and just making sure it doesn't look boring, doesn't look the same on both sides. And we're going to turn this mask by polygroups off. Go here, there. Let's see. Right about there. And I kind of want these flowers. You see how they're kind of flat all the way across? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my move topological. Let's make sure all these are going into this little base that we've given the flower. Just so things aren't floating around. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go down to a lower subdivision level. I'm going to M. I'm going to get mass perfect circle. And we're going to get the inside of this as best as we can. Something like that. And we're going to center this. And of course, we're going to use our bend arc. Oh, this is under multiple subdivision levels. So let's delete those. And what can we get? No, we can't. Well, maybe we can. Yeah, we can. But let's see what the bend arc does. I like bend arc. Sexier. Eesh. Well, it is a little funkier, but I like it. I like funky. All right, so we'll keep that. And we'll accept it. Excuse me. And let's go with our smooth subdiv up to 5, just so we can kind of see it. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. Let's rotate this skull a little bit. Rotate a little bit so it's not perfectly up and down. And let's get our move brush. And let's make some global adjustments. Something like that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much a flower. So we used array mesh. We didn't really get into NanoMesh, but we will on the next one. But yeah, what we can do now is since everything's super low, nothing has subdivision levels, right? So we can go back up here. We can go merge down, okay, merge down, okay, merge down, okay. We have our flower. Everything's low poly. It's going to be beautiful, right? And what we can do now is just create insert mesh, new, and now we can put this flower anywhere. So let's actually finish this using NanoMesh, so you can kind of see what this will do. Let's go and let's get a plane. I'm going to initialize this into, let's go 12 and 12, just so we don't break anything. Alrighty, so what I'm going to, let's get our insert mesh. So now I'm going to do is create NanoMesh, right? Because I'm on my insert mesh. So create NanoMesh. So now it's automatically going to go to our Z-Modeler brush. And it's going to give us all of these options. So now we can hover over a spacebar. Make sure this is always on, but now we can go all polygons, right? So now I can go here, and now we've got all these, and we've got all these on here. You can see they're all in the same way, but that's fine because we can just go here to NanoMesh. You can see like the size, we can still adjust that here. We can adjust the height so it's taller, or the offset, which will actually lift it off of the mesh. So we can kind of see it, okay? We can do a X offset, a Z offset. We can rotate it any of these ways. And then we can also add a variance. so they're not all facing the same way, right? We can also just randomly distribute them. And you can see you can quickly get some flowers. And I'm going to turn show placement off so you can kind of see what that is. But we still have the mesh underneath that all this is on top of. So you can do this and you can see that you can get, you know, something on a hill quite easily, or flowers on a hill quite easily, right? So you can see up here, well, I guess we don't have the poly count, but it's only counting one flower right now because there's only one actual mesh here. But as soon as we go to inventory and we go one to mesh, then we've got a lot of geometry, right? A lot of it. So you want to be careful and you want to make sure that, you know, we got 62,000 polys now. So you want to make sure it's as low as possibly can be. You don't want to be dealing with a million poly assets and trying to NanoMesh that in, at least not in 2019, maybe in 2020 or something like that. But yeah, so that is Array Mesh, NanoMesh in terms of how to create a coffin-like, skull-like flower. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you would, definitely like, definitely subscribe, definitely follow, share if you learned anything or if you had a good time. And if you're interested in taking my course, it's down below. I teach this stuff and a whole lot more, and always adding on to the course to live and pretty much get interaction like this on a weekly basis. That's available for my students. So you can go to XMD Academy. There's plenty of other instructors there. They're super knowledgeable, and I would definitely suggest going there and subscribing, getting something there. You know what I'm saying? But for right now, I'd like to thank Bajibo, True Fury, Leo, Barry Patel, Luis Neto, Mr. L, and Mav3D for joining the stream, for joining the our family and all that good stuff. And I will definitely see y'all later on in the week. If you have any questions or you have any comments, definitely put them down below in the comments section if you're watching on YouTube. Otherwise, you can reach me on SpicerCG at Instagram. And yeah, and I'll see you next time.